You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We talk the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you.
I missed it.
Well, no.
I missed it.
I did the little reprise.
Yeah, you did.
Reprise.
That's right. And
What
I was.
Is it a reprise?
Reprise.
Or
Reprise.
Is
yeah.
it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
So, yeah, you went and did like a cool version.
Well,
That's
actually,
the ending of it, isn't it?
No, it's the second.
No, it's the second
chorus.
piece. Yeah.
Sung by the girl. What's her name? Come on, Carrie Fisher's mom.
Mrs. Fisher.
Mrs. Fisher. No,
I don't know.
was it Donna Reed?
I don't know.
It was Gene Kelly and Kathy Sheldon was her name in the movie. Goofball.
Yeah.
And it's going to bother me.
It's super important.
It's going to no.
People are looking it up right now. People are looking it up right now.
It's not important whatsoever. But I'm doing it.
Okay.
So anyway, go ahead. Continue talking. Because I can't.
Yeah,
I won't be able to function.
No, this is riveting now. I can't hardly look away. So if you can find it right away, if only there was a little box you could carry in your pocket that had all of the knowledge of the universe
Yes.
in it. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes. And good gravy. Oh, there's another Singing in the Rain. What is happening?
What?
I didn't know that.
Is this real life?
Okay, so it's Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds. Man,
Yeah.
I almost said that.
She's dead.
Okay.
Yep, she's dead. In
Anyways.
the ground.
Okay.
Hard to believe.
Way to start this message, by the way.
Yeah.
This
Womp,
is great.
womp. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to start off with a segment.
And
called
I
Dad-
think you should explain why you sang that for our new listeners who are going like, really, is this the best it's going to get?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, 'cause-
so we have a sweet listener who wrote in and said, I like when you sing Good Morning.
And Chris does what the listeners tell him to do. So.
And said, I would appreciate you doing that at least once a week. Now, I haven't done it in several weeks because I did it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, probably like 8 or 10 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And then I missed a few weeks. So I just thought, hey, I'll sing it.
Here we are. Well, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. You made our day.
Yeah.
You're
welcome.
What is our
It's a
thing for
dad
today?
joke competition.
Yes.
So we love this. We have not read these. And so we have 5 each, and I will go first.
Okay, you do it.
All right, here we go.
Did you already? Well, you didn't read through them because you just said we haven't read through these. I haven't read through mine yet.
Here we go.
Okay.
I was really struggling to get my wife's attention, so I sat down on the sofa and looked comfortable. That did the trick. What? What? I was really struggling to. He's saying she bugs me when I'm on the couch.
I think so. Yeah.
I was really struggling to get my wife's attention, so I sat down on the sofa and looked comfortable, and that did the trick.
Yeah.
That's when she nags him.
Yeah. As soon as he sits down and gets comfortable, that's when she.
If you have to use that much work to
Yeah,
understand a
yeah.
joke, it was not funny.
Well, the complexity of a dad joke for you sometimes is you got to work
For
through it a
me.
little bit. Yeah. Here we go.
I'm over here with my crayons. Where was you? Where was you at? Go ahead.
Okay. I've been banned from the secret cooking society. I kept spilling the beans.
Ooh.
Oh, that's rough. It's clever. Clever.
Yeah.
We'll give it a clever sticker.
My daughter would like it.
Yep.
All right. How about this one? I heard that you should always look into a mirror before making a big decision. It helps you reflect. That's not bad.
Okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
I had a happy childhood. My dad used to put me in tires and roll me down hills. Those were good years.
Nah, I like that one. That's pretty good. I used to do that, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to put
believe-
myself in a tire.
Well, that explains a
and
lot.
roll down. Yeah. Where was you? Where was you at? That's so good.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak.
Life travels faster than the speed of sound.
It's a science joke.
Ooh, yeah. Wow.
Light
I had to
travels
think that
faster
one
than
too.
sound. That's why some people appear bright
Right.
until you hear them speak.
Yeah, that's right. That's good.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a mystery as to she gave that to you,
Oh, wow.
didn't she?
You know what, Jeff?
Didn't
I think
she?
it's random.
Okay,
I don't think
random.
she said,
sure, there's
"This-
randomness
this
in this
one
one.
goes to
Desiree
Chris."
doesn't give any thought as to who reads which one, I'm sure.
That's
she
correct.
just gave that to
That is
you.
correct.
Okay. 2 slices of bread got married. The wedding was amazing until someone decided to toast the bride and groom.
Oh, my goodness. Now,
That's a good one.
I really like that
That's a good one. It's clever.
Excuse me. Okay. Just bought a book called 101 Ways to Get Glue Off Your Hands. It's dreadful, but I can't put it down.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. For her birthday, I took my wife to an orchard and we stood there looking at the trees for half an hour. Not the Apple Watch she was expecting, apparently.
Oh, I literally felt the physical disappointment in that one.
Sometimes that's one of the benefits. I mean, that's what you're going for. Is either you're going for such a great surprise that makes you laugh until you cry, or it has to be like massive disappointment where you just groan almost out of. It's almost a physical pain that you feel.
It's the other direction.
Yes.
Okay, how about this one? I walked down the street dressed as a screwdriver. I turned a few heads.
Okay, here's my last one.
Yep.
I've just invented the first thought-controlled air freshener. It makes sense when you think about it.
Oh, wow. Sense. It makes sense when you think about it.
That's a great play on words.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's a good one. Okay.
All right. Not bad. Thank you,
Those were good ones, Desiree.
Yeah, those are good. They weren't bad. They were like, either sometimes you get like a phenomenal one and then a really groaner. I feel like this was sort of in the middle somewhere.
In the middle? Oh, yeah.
It's skated between
I thought they got better as we went on.
Yeah, they skated between like a 7 and a 4, but there was no 2s and there was no 10s.
Okay.
So there you go.
Thank you for rating those. We should get you like number cards to rate the jokes.
Well, for only the viewers. The listeners won't be able to see the cards.
That'd be for my benefit. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about them, to be honest with you. I was just thinking it'd be great for have you hold up a number.
Yeah.
That was a solid 6.
We could do that. We could. Oh, hey, we're about to launch into the second week of our brand new series, which is
second day.
What did I say?
Week.
Yeah, the second.
You're way out ahead of yourself.
Well, it's a week for creation. That's what I was thinking. And,
good save.
Yeah, and so it's the second day of our new series, and we are covering milestones of the Old Testament. Oh, that's a pretty good name.
Milestones. Old Testament. Well, yeah.
Important
These
events.
are the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, highlights of the Old Testament.
Yeah,
I like milestones.
So yesterday, if you missed our first episode in the series, we just talked about the first verse in the first chapter of the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, about the fact that there's a creator, right? And then it unpacks, the rest of Genesis chapter 1 unpacks the first day of creation. He created light. And then the second day he created sky and water. And the third day he created the land and the seas. The fourth day he created the sun, moon, and stars. And then on the fifth day, created the fish and the birds. On the sixth day, he created animals. And then he created a man and a woman to care for everything that he had made.
And then on the seventh day,
he rested.
He chilled.
That's right. That's my favorite day.
That's my favorite day.
So today we're going to just establish the fact that God created humanity. So again, we're only reading just a couple verses here. But I'd encourage you, go read Genesis chapter 1. It's interesting.
Oh, for sure.
And then if you have a Life Application Study Bible, there's probably 15 notes, right?
Oh, 80% of this page that we're about to read from is all commentary.
There's so much to unpack.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Anyways, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, it says, "Then God said, 'Let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. And they will reign over the fish in the sea, and the birds in the sky, and the livestock, and all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground.'" So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it, reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground." Then God said, "Look, I've given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth, and all the fruit trees for your food, and I've given every green plant as food for all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life." And that is what happened. Then God looked over all that he had made, and he saw that it was very good. The evening passed and morning came, marking the sixth day.
There it is.
Now, I think I was only supposed to read through verse 28.
Yeah,
but I was
going to say that, but then I thought maybe I shouldn't say that.
You know what? I just decided I was going to throw in some bonus value for our listeners.
Well, I think it's
3 extra verses.
I think you
got 6 for the price of 3.
Sometimes you just can't help but to keep reading.
Oh, well, I love the Bible so much.
That's it.
Right.
That was it.
I don't know why Desiree wants to.
I saw the
hold us back.
forming above you as you kept on reading.
Can you hear the angels singing all the time?
I just can't put it down, Chris.
Can you hear the angels singing all the time like I do? Can you hear? Or is it,
Like I do?
Or is it just when I'm around you?
Did you say like I do? You constantly hear the angelic chorus. Yeah. What? Not everybody has that?
Okay.
Yeah, we'd have to, question you there if that was the case, if that was your claim.
Yeah, well. So here, God made people.
Yeah, and let's start off with, we sort of referenced this yesterday, but he said, let us make human beings. It says, then God said, let us make human beings in our image to be like us. So like us. And so the word Trinity is not in the Bible. A lot of people, they hear the word Trinity and they think, oh yeah, that's in the Bible somewhere. That's a word that man invented to create basically a word to piece together all the fundamental doctrine that we are told about God himself. So in other words, God is talking about himself, and he describes himself in various parts of the Bible, all the way from the first book all the way through the last book. Right? And he references the Father, he references the Son, Jesus Christ, and then the Holy Spirit. And refers to that as one God. They are God. Jesus himself said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. I and the Father are one. He says, I am, and everybody falls down. We read all of that. And so anyway, when he says, let us, we understand the Trinity to be God, one God in three persons. The Trinitarian belief is it's not polytheism. It is monotheism. It's one God,
right? And
yet we have a Trinitarian God who has three persons in one.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And so the word, when it uses that word, the plural word, and by the way, this is in the notes for Genesis 1:26, but when it uses the plural word, it's not definitive whether he's talking about the Trinity, let us, the three of us, one, or is this a majestic use of plural, like a king or a queen would say? We are so pleased
that is true.
Right?
That is true.
So it could be either way, but it sure seems like God is establishing at the very beginning what we know to be true throughout the whole rest of the Bible. So most of the key elements of the entire Christian faith, most of the key elements of what we believe about God and creation and humanity and those things happen in the first 11 chapters in the book of Genesis, right? So everything else is informed by those first 11 chapters. And so as we know that the rest of the Bible begins to unpack the idea of a Trinity, it's established first here, right at the very beginning. So there's this law, in in Bible study, they call it the law of first mention. So the rest of the Bible will never go against what God says the first time about a thing.
Right.
And so when you read Genesis chapter 1, it's not just, or Genesis 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's not just those are random stories. What God is doing is he's using those as anchors now for the rest of the human story, anchors for the rest of what we can know about God. He does it. He builds when we talk about sin in a couple of days, that becomes the anchor as to why everything else in the Bible has to happen, right?
Sure.
So those first 11 chapters establish all of those anchors that God ties the entire human story into, and it will never deviate from it. It may expand, but it'll never actually go opposite of what you discover in those first 11 chapters. So that's why I would believe then that when he says let us, he's speaking about the Trinity, not just in a royal way, but in a
it would be
Trinitarian way.
very unusual, and it would be inconsistent with if that was the choice.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
And what we're going to see in this series is the scarlet thread. Is Jesus even through the Old Testament, right? So the scarlet thread of Jesus is the theme, and you're right, it's one big story. And even though that it's so random that which by the way, aren't all of our lives random?
Feels like it.
All of our lives feel like they're just crazy story after crazy story that are unrelated, and yet the scarlet thread is our life and our story and our journey. And so what we're going to see that, yes, everything launches back. Even the purpose of why Jesus came is anchored back into these verses in Genesis.
Right. So the original word in Hebrew there, let us make human beings, is the word Adam, right? And it's translated as man. So let us make man in our own image. But he's talking about humanity, not just the masculine, but humanity in general. And so, then the man is Adam, which is interesting, right? So when he's talking about let us make man or let us make humanity, he uses the word Adam. That eventually the first guy, his name is Adam, right? Which is a very clever name. By the way, what should we name it? It's a man,
right?
Right. And then the man, Adam.
It's what Adam did when he saw zzz, and he's like, fly.
Yeah. Exactly. So, well, yeah. Where is that? Did it say in this passage I just read? Go name the animals.
No, because Adam isn't alive yet.
Yeah. Well, he just made him.
Well, he hasn't breathed life into him.
And he
yet.
said, "Look, I've given you everything." Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it tells the story twice. So tomorrow we're going to do a different piece.
Okay, there's a little layover.
That's correct.
It's a little layover.
Right.
Yeah.
So this one he's talking about just the fact that he made humanity,
right.
And he made them in his image.
Right.
Which this idea of being made in the image of God, I think is a really important thing. It's what sets us apart from the rest of the animals.
Yeah.
Right. So people who don't believe in a soul, people who don't believe in a God, would say that we are just a higher evolved version of the rest of the animals. But God says, no, I made humanity separate, and I made humanity in my image. The Bible doesn't say he made aardvarks in his image. Right. He made humanity in his image. And so there's a lot of elements to that. A part of that is that we're spiritual beings, as God is spiritual. We have self-determination in a lot of ways. We're not only driven by instinct, even though we have instincts, but we have the ability to make choices. We have the ability to make moral choices. And anyways, there's so many elements along those lines of being made in the image of God.
Did you ever read McManus's book, Artesian Soul? Yeah. So it was an interesting concept.
That was a reach back, man. That's how old is that? 15 years?
At least.
Yeah.
But the concept was interesting. I didn't love the book, to be honest with you. Sorry if Alex McManus is listening, or Erwin. I apologize. No, Alex, I knew Alex personally, but it's a good book. Let me say that.
I enjoyed
the
it.
The concept of the book is spectacular, which was he basically said, every time you and I create, we are in the image of God, because God created, and he made us in his image, and so he gave us the ability to create. And he talked about how only humanity has the ability to create, right? I mean, beavers can certainly build a dam, but I'm talking about like the inception of saying, okay, let's sit down and come up with a brilliant, brand new idea and create it.
Right.
And so every time you create artistically, which is why it's called the Artesian Soul, then you are fulfilling a part of you being created in the image of God. Right. Which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, there's several of those things. Reason is another one. Yeah. Right? Especially complex reasoning is significant. Speech. There are animals that can communicate, but there aren't any animals that have speech. Right. Except, humanity. We have speech, and speech being the ability to convey complex ideas. So the ability to reason on a complex level, and then to be able to, with speech, convey complex ideas. The creativity component is a God element as well. Not that we are gods, but we're made in God's image there. And then, as I mentioned, self-determination. Those would be the really big ones. And then on top of that, God expected us to reflect his character, love and joy and peace and gentleness and kindness and right? Self-control, all those kinds of things. And God then elevated us above the rest of creation and gave us responsibility to be stewards of it. And then he also made us diverse. So where God made one human, then we'll talk about this tomorrow, but then he makes them male and female. The diversity of humanity, the complexity of God goes beyond either of the genders, right? But God made them male and female. So yeah.
That's great. And so then it goes on and it says, he made human beings, and then it says they will reign over the fish of the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, and everything else on the ground. So then he gave us authority, didn't he? Yeah. So along with the creation and everything else, he gave us a job to do. Yeah. And so we have clearly assigned dominion over the planet. Right. And so, and we're about to find out that, he gave Adam and Eve a job.
Be fruitful and multiply was the first job.
Yes.
And the second job was to tend the garden.
Yes.
Yeah.
And named the animals.
Yeah.
So Adam was then, in essence, the first zoologist, right?
Yeah. And the first gardener.
Yes. And the first landscape architect, right? He was the first of a lot of things.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Wow. Good gravy.
So there's a note on verse 31, which 31 says, then God looked over all that he had made. This is after he made people, and he saw that it was very good. And I love this note as we wrap up. It says, God saw that all he had created was excellent in every way. You are part of God's creation, and he is pleased with how he made you. If at times you feel worthless, remember that God made you for a good reason, and you're valuable to him, which leads totally into tomorrow's conversation.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
incredibly important.
All right. Well, hey, we will pick up next time, and hopefully we will see you there on this journey with us, on this brand new series through Genesis. We'll see you next time on the Bible Guys.